Hello, it is Sunday, February 20th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solved. It is a Sunday puzzle today, so I hope you're settled in. Maybe you have a cup of coffee or, I don't know, a cup of tea, something else. I hope you're settled in for a big, long, leisurely Sunday solve, because that's probably what we have in store for us today. We can see this enormous grid. And this long Sunday solve, this edition of the Daily Solve, is brought to you by Kathleen Quinn, Victoria Rajishka, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster. So thank you so much to the three of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. If you'd like to join their ranks as benefactors, you can find the Daily Solve Patreon campaign at patreon.com/dailysolve. That's how you can help support this channel directly and make this a sustainable part of my daily work. Thank you to everybody who has done that at any level. And of course, at any level, you do get access to all of those bonus solves, including the new, this past week's mini crossword speed run that I put up, as well as the new acrostic puzzle, the new New York Times acrostic puzzle that went up. And I think, I suppose it's today, actually. Today, the new New York Times monthly bonus puzzle will go live. So look forward to that if you're a Patreon subscriber as well. Anyway, remain to the end of the video if you'd like to see some comments from yesterday's crossword. And I suppose I'm going to now get going with this solve. We finally have seem here in the UK to have exited Storm Eunice, which has been absolutely buffeting our windows for the past several days. I was worried they were going to shatter at times. I mean, I guess I didn't really expect that to happen, but it certainly felt that way. All that seems left is a bit of rain and wind that is currently working its way out, I suppose, at this point. And so with that, should be able to have a nice unencumbered solve today, and I guess we should get started. This is a crossword entitled "Pardon My French." I wonder what that means. I wonder if that means we're going to be having to identify French words, maybe? I mean, it could, honestly, this could mean almost anything, so I probably shouldn't spend too long guessing. But the crossword is entitled "Pardon My French." It was constructed by Victor Barocas, who has done, I looked this up earlier, I think more than a dozen New York Times crosswords, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shortz. Oh, and of course, pardon my French, this will be a themed puzzle, and so it will, this title will relate in some way to the theme. We don't know what that's going to be yet, of course, so let's find out. Okay. Tobacco plug. So a plug, does this refer, I think this refers to a plug of tobacco. Is that a sort of wad of chewing tobacco, which could be called chaw? I'm taking a sort of, going out on a limb slightly here. Obscure. I mean, it could be cover if obscure is a verb. I mean, here I'm putting speculation on top of speculation. Windsor, e.g. Windsor. Windsor is a knot. It's the sort of current royal dynasty here in the UK. It's a town not far outside of London. What else is Windsor? I mean, it's a knot that's used to tie a bow tie. I feel as though there are other things that Windsor is, and I can't bring it to mind. I don't know. I probably shouldn't spend too much time thinking about this. I'll see it with crosses, or this H could be incorrect. A criminal's may be unbelievable. Oh, maybe it is. Alibi. A criminal might have an unbelievable alibi. And time blank, you could say time was. Showgirl in the 1978 hit Copacabana. Well, in the song, I've actually never seen... Oh, this is the song. Right. Okay, sorry. I was going to say, well, in the song Copacabana, there's a character named Lola, and I was thinking, well, this must be a movie or something. But no, it's referring to the song. And Lola, she was a showgirl. That's a line from the song Copacabana. Okay, so what did I have here? Cover was incorrect. Cloak, you could obscure something. You could cloak it, perhaps. Yeah, that might be... Not very confident about that, so let's check the crosses. No, okay, this is wrong. Firewire alternative. This is... I don't think I've ever seen Firewire referenced in the New York Times crossword. And honestly, it's sort of outdated at this point already. Firewire was... I think a largely Apple pioneered or largely Apple used data port type on computers, and never really seemed to take off outside of the context of Apple computers. But USB would be the alternative, the much more common alternative. So obscure, maybe cloud. So we had what? Cover, cloak, cloud. This is how interesting. There are so many synonyms of obscure that start with C, when obscure is used as a verb anyway. And so to obscure something, maybe to cloud it. I mean, I will be in no way surprised if this too turns out to be incorrect, but let's put it here for now. Windsor, e.g. Oh, is it a horse? Is it a breed of horse? That seems plausible. Windsor has that sort of posh air that could go along with something like horse breeding. I'm not certain about this. I'm just putting it in to see. Positive thinker's motto. No, maybe I shouldn't. This is too long of an answer, and I don't know what it is yet. So, reason-based belief in God. Oh, deism. Yes, deism. I got deism and theism confused on the video a couple of weeks ago, but deism indeed was what I meant to be, was what I was trying to think of previously, which would be a belief in God, as it says here, based around sort of rooted in principles of reason and largely eschewing sort of traditional doctrinal organized religious tenets. Okay, so Windsor. So house or horse? I mean, oh, actually, if it were house, oh, I see. It is one of the things I said. It's the House of Windsor. So when I said the current UK monarchy's dynasty, current family, that is actually what this is referencing. So the House of Windsor is indeed, I think, what this is meant to be. And a positive thinker's motto. So here, this could be French. The theme is, pardon my French. Boy, I've spent 4.5 minutes just entering a few clues in this corner of the grid. I have to speed this up if I'm ever going to finish this crossword. So the positive thinker's motto, it starts with oui, which is yes in French. So this seems like we're on the right track, I think, with this answer. Now, what can I do to start solving more quickly? Bit of magic, a spell, magic spell. Call the midwife network. Well, this is a British program. I've actually never seen this. I don't remember what network it's on here in the UK. I think it's either I actually don't remember if it's a BBC show. It might be ITV. But in the US, it would probably be PBS, which runs a lot of British programming in the US, the public broadcasting system, PBS. And Man of La Mancha. So, the Man of La Mancha, I believe, is Don Quixote, but this probably this just means man in Spanish. That's what this means. So this comes up frequently in the crossword. I mention this usually when it comes up, which is that you'll use a place name to indicate that the answer is going to be in the language spoken in that place. So here we're just going to say, maybe it's just hombre, because we're referring to the Spanish language by the mention of La Mancha. Okay, what about this? Letter between November and Papa in the NATO alphabet. Well, it'll be an O because it's between N and P, so that's already in the crossword, so that's not helpful. Is it Omega? Maybe. I always feel I should learn the NATO alphabet. It seems like it would be so useful when you're on a phone call and the line is bad and you're trying to give somebody a confirmation code or something and no one can understand anyone. I should just learn it. It could be Otter. It could be Omega. Oscar. It's Oscar. There we go. Sorry. Okay. November, Oscar, Papa. And pedal on the right. The gas pedal. And so this means like in an automobile is what this is referring to. Boomer's kid maybe could be a Gen Xer. So the baby boomers could have sired. Why did I say that? Could have had a child who was born in the era considered Generation X, and I think Generation X births ended in 1980. I think that's broadly considered the cutoff point for Gen X. Big name in jelly. So this will be I assume by jelly this means jam, like a fruit jam, as opposed to, I mean, there are other usage of jelly. That's probably what this is. So it'll be a brand name. Oh, Welch. Welch's jelly, I think would be the answer here. Manipulate could be wield, as in a weapon, wield a weapon, manipulate a weapon. Let's check the crosses and see if that holds. Like mosaic, oh no, oh sorry, I spelled wield incorrectly. That was embarrassing. Like mosaic tiles, they're inlaid. You could inlay mosaic tiles on a floor or a wall, for instance. And to lose possession. So there's a question mark. I think this would be if without the question mark, I think you'd read this in a sports context, but with the question mark, what's being said is read this in a way, it's a pun or a bit of wordplay. Read this in a way that is not what your first thought would be with respect to the surface meaning of this phrase. So I think it probably means literally lose possession of an object. I think that's probably what this means. So sort of expropriate, or what is this? I'm not sure. We shall overcome is the positive thinker's motto. So this is obviously referencing the civil rights anthem, "We shall overcome," WE shall overcome, but we're putting a French spin on it. We're saying, pardon my French, we're changing the we into OUI, yes. So it's sort of, that doesn't really literally translate to anything useful. It would be yes shall overcome, which obviously is sort of, it's just the whole thing's a bit of wordplay. So we shall overcome with the we turned to yes in French. And so the yes is the positive thinker's motto, I suppose. Okay, so where Wagner's Tannhauser was first performed. Well, I mean, this isn't something I would have been able to pull out of my hat without the crosses, but with the crosses, I think Dresden, probably the Dresden Opera House, would be where Wagner's Tannhauser was first performed, given these crosses. It might be set at sea. You could set sail at sea. That's straightforward enough. Late night trips to the fridge, e.g. You could say a late night raid of the fridge, or in this case, raids because it's plural. Prima facie is the Latin phrase that's been suggested here. And graduates of Quantico informally. That's a military university of some sort, right? Is it, well, maybe, is it feds? Is it some kind of federal FBI training or something? Is that, what is this? Word that becomes more dramatic. I'm just going to see if I can confirm this or not. Word that becomes more dramatic when you add an R in front. Probably evolution to revolution. I think people who write ad copy and other such things are always very pleased about the linguistic quirk of this, because you can create that extra drama with an extra letter, and it's can be applied usefully. Caribbean land at the Olympics. Caribbean land at the Olympics. What does that mean? Does this mean the abbreviation used for a particular country at the Olympics? What is this? Oh, declare, to aver, to state something, to state an opinion forcefully, to declare it. And then what's this? I think this looks wrong. Oh, maybe it's not avert, it's to avow. That makes this make more sense. So this would be the Dominican Republic, presumably. And administer an oath to would be swear on. I mean, it's not going to be swear to, because to is already in the clue. We're not going to repeat a word. Oh, swear in. I see. Administer an oath to somebody, to swear in that person. I think that might be what it is. But let's check the crosses to make sure. Peroxide ion? I'm not sure. Nonsense. Nonsense could be tripe. You could say that is utter tripe, utter rot. It is total nonsense. Means of becoming a god. What is this? Uprising, could this be maybe? Projecting front. Oh, the prow of a ship, maybe? It sort of projects outward at the front of the ship. Is that what that is? And here we have a quarrel, could be a row, an argument. Shirt or blouse. Either one of those is a top in clothing, apparel. When a primetime drama might air. So this will be a time, when does primetime start? 7 or 8 o'clock? 8, 9, it's 9, I suppose, is the only time that fits in 4 cells here, at 9. Echoes, I'm going to skip that, it's a bit long. Oh, here we have a compound clue. So here we have the shorter roommate of 14 across and the taller roommate of 15 down. I don't really know what that's getting at just yet. We'll have to come back to that when we have some crosses. Control, metaphorically, it could be the reins. You could say, I'll give you control. I'll give you the reins. So the reins are the metaphor for control because they represent a horse. The horse's reins represent the concept of control. Completely in slang. So without the completely, my first thought would be utter completely, but it's not. I mean, utter isn't slang, so I don't think that's the answer. Completely in slang. The slang makes this much more vague, and so I think I might come back to it. Because once you get into slang, you get into things like, this isn't the word because it doesn't mean completely, but things like kinda, where not only are you trying to think of the right word or phrase, you have to consider contractions and all kinds of other things. Snack item with approximately 53 calories. I only have a confident guess for this because of the sort of meta history around this food item in the crossword, and I believe it's an Oreo. And Oreo is a legendarily frequently used crossword answer. And the irony of that is that at this point, I actually think Oreo is less commonly used than some other food items like the acai berry or aloe, which is often used included in a medicinal context in the crossword. But I think that's because Oreo is has been traditionally so often used that its use is just it's discouraged. And I believe Will Shortz, the editor of the New York Times crossword, as always, has mandated that in order for Oreo to be further used in the crossword, it must have a unique clue each time. You can't reuse a clue from the past 70 years of Oreo's potential presence in the crossword. And so that's why when I saw this odd clue that nobody could possibly know off the top of their head, or very few people would know that an Oreo has approximately 53 calories. But for that reason, I thought, well, it must be an Oreo, because why else would they have such an odd, obscure clue? Okay. Completely in slang. And here we have textbook section. Textbook section. What are the sections of a textbook? There's an index. It could be a unit, a given unit of a curriculum. That's probably what it is. Oh, shorter roommate of 14 across. This must be Ernie and Bert, the two characters from Sesame Street. Sesame Street. And completely in slang would be totes. Yes, okay. I did need pretty much all of the crosses to get that. That wouldn't have occurred to me without this, but with the crosses, it's pretty straightforward. And then, prima facie with an E, not A, sorry. And then means of becoming a god looks like Dieu prowess? Sorry, what's the... So I see the French Dieu for God, and then... Is it prowess? No. Sorry, I'm completely blanking on this. I apologize. Means of becoming a god. Dieu... I'm sorry. I'm sure you're all absolutely yelling at me through the screen for this, but I just don't see it. Echoes. Oh, bounce. Oh, I see. So it's, well... I think you'd say Dieu in French, Dieu process, but it's playing on the notion of due process. If you were speaking English, due process of law, and then here this is interesting. There's another I in it. I don't know, that might be a coincidence that we're putting an I into both of these French words, but anyway, we're turning that into Dieu process. The means of becoming a god, the process of becoming a Dieu, a god. And I can't quite tell if there's something about the way that this transformation happens that I haven't quite caught on to yet. But let's just keep solving the puzzle and see. So echoes, bounces back. Oh yeah, the sound waves bounce back in an echo. So maybe that's what this is saying. It's an affront. Sass, maybe you could say. You could say I'm affronted by your sass. Berliner's old. Alta would be old in German. And again, we're using, I mean, this is more straightforward than the ombre thing. The ombre thing is a bit more subtle. It's saying man of La Mancha, whereas this is explicitly saying this is what a Berliner would say to say old. So old in German is Alta. And it matures quickly in brief. It matures quickly in brief. So the in brief says there will be some kind of contraction or abbreviation here. I'm not sure what this means yet. Let's see. Let's back up a bit. Repeated sound that's hard to get rid of. Oh, is it hic as in hiccup? Is that what that means? So you keep making that hic sound when you have the hiccups, and it's difficult to get rid of because it's hard to banish the hiccups once you have them. So lose possession. Oh, I was completely wrong about this. It wasn't, I mean, well, I was correct that we're meant to ignore this sort of surface sports reading of this clue, but I was utterly incorrect about what meaning we are meant to take from it. And it was more punny than what I had in mind. So we're saying lose possession by some kind of evil spirit or something. In other words, be exorcised. So to lose possession, to exorcise the demon. There we go. There we go. Had something nice, could be dined. You had something nice to eat in this case. You dined. Has a bit of a, I don't know, a more elevated implication than just saying ate. You dined. It sounds fancier. Ernst & Young, e.g. abbreviation. That's an accounting firm. Oh, actually, but I think that's a bit of misdirection because I think this is just separately probably referring to two U.S. senators. Separately, Senator Ernst and Senator Young, not Ernst & Young, EY, the accountancy or consultancy firm. Okay, most likely to win at trivia night, maybe. Nerdiest, I would think. Most likely to successfully complete crosswords every day, perhaps also you could say. Oft, could be did in, you murdered someone, you offed them, you did them in. All rise, a judge might say. It surrounds a pupil, the iris, or parts of the eye, we're saying here. Not merely annoyed. I'm not just annoyed, I am irate. Absolutely irate, right in the center of the grid here. Just as the state of being irate, it's at the core of your sensation when it happens. Split. Could be split as in fled, or split as in I suppose, divorced actually was the next word, next concept I was going to say. And that actually might be the answer with that DI. Salus Populi Suprema Lex Blank, motto of Missouri. I don't know. I only have one letter left, but I don't want to take a guess because I've already done that with a Latin phrase and it didn't serve me well. So let's keep going. Feed the guests, maybe. Feed the guests, maybe. I'm sorry, I don't quite see it yet. Holy water. So this will be another phrase where presumably we prepend a French word, or rather, I suppose we substitute the first word for a French word. Let's jump back up to just working through the crossword sequentially. Place in danger. Imperil. If you place someone in danger, you imperil them. You put them in peril. Long-billed waiter, an ibis, or yeah, an ibis, right? Where Rapunzel let down her hair. Why is there a question mark? What is the pun here? So the question mark again is some kind of pun or wordplay. I don't really know what that's suggesting. Where Rapunzel let down her hair. So Rapunzel obviously is the fairy tale character who let a prince probably climb up to her prison tower cell by letting her hair down and he climbed it up. Okay, but I'm not sure I see what this is suggesting with that question mark. Angled to get attention. Abbreviation. I should probably delete this. I feel as though I could be wrong. Parent company of Facebook. This is a pretty current clue, surprisingly current. Meta is now what Facebook, the Facebook corporation is now called Meta. Perhaps. It could be say. You could say, oh, that's true, perhaps. That's say. That's the case, say. I don't know. Now that I say it out loud, it's not a great match, but I think there are ways you could position that. You could linguistically position that more accurately than I just did. Angled to get attention. What does that mean? I mean, angling can also be fishing. Is that what that is saying? Angled to get attention. Oh, I see. Very clever. So this actually is a bit of wordplay, but it's literally true as well. You could italicize something. You can angle the actual type itself for the text to be stronger, to have more, to gain attention, for it to have emphasis applied. Okay, so I guess it is ibis. Where Rapunzel let down her hair. Sorry, I don't know why I'm not saying this. Game starter. Play something? Play ball? Play game starter. What starts a game? Play chess. That's not anything. Bell. Oh, I see. This is one of the theme clues and answers. I see what this is. Bell tower. So bell, French for beautiful, and then tower. So this is referring to Rapunzel's beauty, and it is also obviously playing on the phrase bell tower. And Rapunzel was not in a bell tower, B-E-L-L, but you could say maybe she was in a bell tower, B-E-L-L-E. So there we have that. Okay, let's move on. So I don't think there is anything going on with the I. That was just a coincidence that these words both have I in them. Temporarily replace. Oh, you could sit in for somebody, temporarily replace them. Home for Holmes. So Sherlock Holmes, London. Baker Street was where Sherlock Holmes resided in the Arthur Conan Doyle stories. And actually there's a, on Baker Street, I don't remember Sherlock Holmes' address. It's something 221A or B or something. I'm sure that's incorrect. But there's a Sherlock Holmes museum on that street here in London, and they've sort of created that address, which is would not be the actual address of that location. But I think they've sort of given it that address, and there's the Sherlock Holmes Museum, and I think it's above a pub, actually. I've been there once years and years and years ago. Anyway, suffix with serpent or opal, serpentine or opaline, I guess. And a sign of overuse could be wear, as in wear and tear. A document to ensure secrecy is an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Sort of a often very much abused contractual term. Holy water. Oh, right. So this will be another theme answer. Let's just solve some low-hanging fruit first. Oh, this is that Missouri motto. What about this? Excites. Let's jump back up to where we left off. It's an affront. So probably not sass. Well, certainly not sass, assuming Alta is correct, which I think it is. It's an affront. Oh, a slap. It's slap in the face is an affront. And so slap in the face is often used metaphorically to represent something that is an affront. Sight on winter roads. And it matures quickly in brief. Oh, a T-bill? Is this a treasury bill? Maturity referring to the period of time, when it has reached its maturity and therefore will pay out the interest due. Is that what this is referring to? Sight on winter road. I'm not really sure about that. Prefix that's mega. Oh, so mega is what, 1,000? No, mega is 1,000,000, and then if we multiplied 1,000,000 times 1,000,000, is that the tera prefix? another thing I'm not completely certain about. I'm sort of taking guesses on guesses here. Let's just keep working through these crosses and see if we can confirm or deny. Reach quickly as a conclusion. Oh, you could leap to a conclusion. And a sight on winter roads is a plow. I see, a snow plow. There we have that. United group. Oh, so this could be referring to United Airlines. And so they could be referring to an air crew, the members of the crew on board the airline, as opposed to at the airport. So the pilot, co-pilot, the flight attendants, the crew on board. One who sees what you're saying would be a lip reader. They literally see what you're saying rather than hear it. BuzzFeed staple. So BuzzFeed is the online publication. I think, yeah, probably often known for its listicles. It's articles that consist largely of lists of the top 10 somethings or whatever. Wide ties. So wide ties could be ascots. You would not tie an ascot with a Windsor knot, I don't think. Speaking of Windsor, I don't know enough about ascots, but I don't really think of an ascot being tied like that. So, all right, a charade is an act, dish that's cooked underground. Oh, is it poi? And them's the breaks. I'm going to try and move through this a little more quickly. This looks like for heaven's sake. Holy water. Oh, it's O. I see. O. French for water is O, E-A-U. And so that's playing on the phrase, oh, for heaven's sake. But in this case, it's oh, for heaven's sake. It's water that is holy. And manipulates, uses Netflix series set at Green Gables. I don't know this Netflix series. I assume this is referring to Anne of Green Gables, so maybe I'll just put in Anne at the beginning because there's an A. And game starter, player one. Oh, maybe it's referring to the first player to take their turn, player one, perhaps that means. Excites could be turns on. And neighbor of Siberia in Risk. Is it the USSR? Ones with pressing work. No, I don't think it is. That would be sort of surprising because I would think Siberia would be part of the USSR. So one with pressing work would be an ironer, someone who irons, someone who presses clothes. And list in the Idiot's Guide to. List in the Idiot's Guide to. I don't know what that. 673 parts of the Louvre Pyramid. So this is the pyramid outside of the Louvre Museum in Paris. I think it was designed by I.M. Pei, the great architect, who I think recently passed away. I hope I'm not incorrect. I hope I'm not saying that in error. But anyway, 673 parts, maybe panes of glass. Is the neighbor of Siberia in Risk Ural, as in Ural Mountains? List in the Idiot's Guide to. Oh, is it tips? A list of tips, maybe? And, oh, I guess it is Ural. Okay, so I don't know that I've ever actually played Risk. I probably did once or twice when I was growing up. I can't really remember. Anyway, if you offed someone, you slew them. And that was somewhere else in this crossword, wasn't it? I'm not going to find it now, but there was another oft. I'm sure you're all staring right at it, and I just can't find it anywhere. It was did in, I think maybe was the answer. Oh, I'm seeing all these DIDs, but I'm seeing all these Ds, but I can't find the one that I'm looking for. Oh, here it is. Did in, oft. Yes, so we had oft, did in, and oft slew. Murdered. Okay. Netflix series set at Green Gables, and I just don't know. I haven't heard of that series. Place to go on a ship. Place to go on a ship, the head. So place to use the facilities, so to speak, the head. And Salus Populi Suprema Lex Esto, motto of Missouri. Okay, I'm not familiar with that motto. Here we have feed the guests, maybe. Is it water? Why do I not see what this is? That's infuriating. Old man in quotation marks. So it could be dad, your old man, your father. Gunslinger's command could be draw in a duel, draw your pistol. Go the wrong way could be err, make a mistake, make an error. A narcissist may go on an ego trip. Narcissists may go on an ego trip. Philippine money, the peso, right? Panasonic subsidiary. I hope that's correct. Let's see. Phoenix to Albuquerque direction. Phoenix to Albuquerque. I'm actually not sure offhand. But it'll start with north, south, or east. We've ruled out west because this direction is already an easterly direction. The Queen with her pets. And here we have annual Memorial Day race informally. Is it Indy, the Indianapolis 500 maybe? It's one of the only examples I can imagine, so I hope that's correct. I think it probably is. So this will either be north by northeast or east by northeast. And it's probably east by northeast. Oh, and the Queen, Ray, in French, right? Or no? So Ra, R-O-I, Ra, how do you say that? French pronunciation is failing me. That would be king. Why can I not think of French for queen? Architectural columns in the form of sculpted female figures. And then here we have Panasonic subsidiary. Oh, is it Sanyo? That is a Japanese electronics brand. I guess maybe it's owned by Panasonic. I didn't know that. Which is another Japanese electronics brand. Weight of an empty container. Oh, the tare. So when you're weighing something, that when you sort of tear out the scale, you're sort of negatively compensating for the weight of the container itself, so that you only are determining the weight of what's in the container. And kitchen scales will generally have a tare button for that reason. Shockingly bizarre could be, I was going to say eerie, but that's not really shocking, and it doesn't fit here anyway. Here we have greenlit, could be okayed. You greenlit a production, a film to go to production, you okayed it. What the quadriceps muscle connects to, I'm not sure. Let's keep going. Answer to what is Roquefort or Brie? Well, those are cheeses. So what is Roquefort or Brie? What is the French word that makes this pun work? I'm not sure. Them's the breaks. Oh, naps? You're literally taking a break. So we don't see these that often, but when you see this exclamation point, it doesn't always mean this, but usually what it means is that this is going to be a description of the answer rather than a definition or a synonym. So this is saying, them's the breaks. It's saying this thing in question, it's a break, or they are breaks, and naps are a form of a break, taking a break. What is this? I'm not sure. Sorry. I'm just going to keep going. I might have something wrong somewhere. Like drunken speech could be slurred. You could slur your speech when drunk. Looked at could be eyed. Looked at it with your eyes. 1 of 17 in Monopoly, abbreviation. It must be an avenue. I mean, I didn't know there were 17, but that seems plausible. A common still life prop is a vase. You often see paintings of vases and still life paintings. February 14th, V-Day, Valentine's Day. And threshold could be a verge. You could say we're on the verge of solving this crossword. We're on the threshold. Early bird could be an egg, literally an early form of a bird would be an egg. And held tight would be hugged. Here we go. This area is coming together. Ubiquitous advertiser with an acronymic name. Geico, I think this might be. They certainly do in the States anyway, advertise absolutely nonstop these days. And it is an acronym. I can't remember. It's something like General Insurance Corporation or something like that. I might be missing a word with that E. E is either part of General or it's its own word, and I can't remember. But it's something like General Insurance Corporation or something like that, or Indemnification Corporation or something of that sort. If my luck holds out. If my luck holds out. I hope maybe? Not sure. China's largest ethnic group, that would be the Han, would be China's largest ethnic group, Han Chinese. So that could be I hope, actually. Pens. I mean, it could be pens as in rights, or it could be pens as in cages. Oh, right, cages. Okay. Sometimes I just need to talk it through, I guess. Beginning could be the onset of something, the beginning of something. What's left on a map? So west on a map would be represented usually as the left pointing direction. Bit of sports equipment that may be electrified. I don't know. I'm not sure. Do the blank soft drink slogan. That would be do Mountain Dew's longtime slogan. I assume it still is. I'm not sure. Oh, an épée. Right. So actually another French word. So the sword that's used in fencing competitions, it's electrified so that it can determine when it has touched, when it has made a touch on the opponent. If my luck holds out, it is indeed, I hope. And what is this? The queen with her pets. And, oh, raining. Raining cats and dogs? Reigning as in ruling over? Or rather, reign would be the French word. Reign, cats, and dogs. There we go. Okay. So my thought about... That is what I had in mind. But for some reason, I was incredibly unconfident about it. And there's still, for some reason, it just doesn't feel right to me, even though I'm pretty confident it is correct. I don't know why. Just had a weird blank in my brain here. I think because I was probably confusing French and Spanish for queen or something like that. I'm honestly not sure. Just one of those times when, sometimes a word just looks surreal to you and you don't really know why, but it just seems, even though you know it's fine, there's something about it that looks wrong. I don't know. Shockingly bizarre. And what the quadriceps muscle connects to. Oh, the kneecap, perhaps? That must be right. Fleas and flies are pests. Red Sox division. It'll be something east or west. Oh, no, it'll be east because the Red Sox are Boston. So AL East, is that what it is? Bottle labeled XXX in the comics. Oh, ale, yes. Often a bottle of beer will have XXX on it in comic strips. Schools. So it could be schools as in schools of thought, or obviously a physical school, a location of learning, an institution of learning, or schools as in teaches someone. Why do I not see what this is? Sorry. Here we have bugs. Oh, if you bug someone, you could sort of nag. So this is really bugging me. This is nagging at me. It bugs me. It nags at me. That could be it. Or eats, actually. It could be eats at or nags at. It could be either of those. Actually, I think eats might be more likely because inappropriate could be undue. Undue harm, inappropriate harm, for instance. Front of a semi could be the cab of a big truck, a big semi-truck. An orchestra section could be the brass section, brass instruments. And what's naked in summer, clothed in summer and naked in winter, per an old riddle. Some kind of tree, I would think. Oh, and it does look like we can fit tree in here, but can we though? Oh, a tree. Is that the answer? A tree? Okay. Rhinitis treater in brief. ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor. And schools. Oh, educates. It is the verb, indeed. Oh, I see. Okay. So this is why I wasn't getting this answer to Roquefort or Brie earlier. It's because this is actually two words, or it's sort of a contracted word. So this is say cheese, C apostrophe EST, or in other words, this is cheese, or it is cheese. Say cheese. So obviously that's playing on the English phrase, say cheese, in photography. That was a tougher one than the others. The others, I think, were all single words. Or I suppose you could say is a word in the sense that you could say that's a single word, but it's two words contracted. And that's basically what say is, that's cheese. The shockingly bizarre is outre. So actually another French word. We do so sort of a linguistic crossword generally. So if something is shockingly bizarre, it is outre. All right, we're closing in on the end here. This long crossword is spilled milk. Oh, it looks like something waste. Probably go to waste or something. New York City commuting initials the MTA, the Metropolitan Transit Authority. And announcement on National Coming Out Day could be I'm gay. You could say I'm gay. You could say it on any other day as well, but relevant, I suppose, to National Coming Out Day, and architectural columns in the form of sculpted female figures. I don't know that I know this word. Interesting. And feed the guests. Uh-oh. This is a bit awkward. So I have, sorry. Cater. You cater, you serve the food. I don't know why that took me so long. So caryatids, I suppose, architectural columns in the form of sculpted female figures. I am not familiar with this word. I will have to look that up. That is very interesting and new to me. Netflix, oh right, it's the Netflix Anne of Green Gables thing. Anne, I don't know. Spilled milk. Oh, well, milk in French is lait, L-A-I-T, so lay to waste. So milk to waste, obviously, again, playing on the English phrase to lay to waste, to utterly destroy or demolish something or an enemy, to lay them to waste. Where bile is produced, in the liver. And Luz, who wrote Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, a great classic film, but I don't either know or remember. I mean, I may have known at one point. I don't know the screenwriter's name. I'm not sure. Seeing As, and what Bank Americard began in 1976. I suppose this must be the precursor to the Visa credit card processing company. And School, where some of Shakespeare in Love was filmed. I mean, it must be Eton, the school. Actually, Eton is in the town of Windsor. Well, no, I suppose Eton is its own little community, but it's adjacent to Windsor. It's right there. So anyway, just another reference to Windsor here earlier in the crossword. And Eton is a very famous preparatory school, not far from where I am, but outside of London. Many British prime ministers, for instance, were educated at Eton. It's actually kind of slightly embarrassing, actually, what a high percentage of prime ministers were educated at Eton, given what a small percentage of the population would ever go to such a school. Luz, who wrote Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. I don't know. Casual response to an apology. Oh, you could say it's okay. And a casino tool is a rake. Right, yes, they use that to rake the, I suppose, either dice or chips or whatever. Oh, and with an E. Must be what this is. Okay, fair enough. And seeing as means if. No, in that, yes. Seeing as we're about to solve this crossword, in that we're about to solve this crossword, that doesn't really work, but it works in other contexts. Oh, so Anita Luz, who wrote Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Okay, I may have at one point known that fact, didn't remember, but good to know. And there we have it. There's the Sunday puzzle. And I was fortunate in solving this crossword in that, I mean, it certainly didn't mean I jumped to the correct answer instantly in each case, but it was helpful that I have some degree of French awareness. Even there, I struggled in a couple cases, as with this rain, cats and dogs. So I was fortunate to have some French knowledge here. I would be interested to know if you had, depending on your level of French knowledge, to what extent this theme gave you a challenge on this puzzle today. Obviously, you can always get things with crosses, and it looks like most of these crosses are all right. This House of Windsor was, I found a bit tricky initially. Yeah, I would be curious to know how people fared with this crossword, especially if you are less acquainted with French and therefore would have to rely much more on the crosses. Let me know. I'm always very curious. And I'm especially curious with a theme like this that does require, or at least lean heavily on, a particular category of knowledge. So I would say this was probably maybe a little bit tougher than your average Sunday puzzle. That's probably my estimation overall. I mean, it was a fun puzzle. I enjoyed working through this theme. So let's just revisit those quickly. The positive thinker's motto is "We shall overcome." The means of becoming a god would be Dieu process. And so some of these are pronounced very similarly in French and English. So the "we shall overcome," very similar. But Dieu process and due process, pretty different, I would say. Bell tower, pretty much the same, where Rapunzel let down her hair. Holy water is oh, for heaven's sake. That's pretty similar. Say cheese, this might be my favorite. I think that's extremely clever. Say cheese, again, pronounced very similarly. The answer to what is Roquefort or Brie. Lay to waste, also quite similar, referring to spilled milk. And finally, Reine or Reine, cats and dogs, the queen with her pets. I don't think the pronunciation quite matches there, although my French pronunciation could always just be, not the best. And there we have it. Pardon My French by Victor Barocas. A very clever puzzle, and maybe a bit trickier than your average Sunday. But maybe not. I don't know. Let me know how you fared. So with that, let's read some clues from yesterday's puzzle. What do we have? We have a few. We have 3 here. So I struggled for a while with the answer treed. And that we have an explanation here from Matthew F. about treed. And what was that? It was something about it was the clue was pined away. So obviously referring to pine trees. And what Matthew says is, I took it as treed in its normal meaning lots of treed, as in lots of trees. It was a heavily treed area, essentially the same as wooded. And then pined away is using away, meaning constantly, persistently, or continuously. So an area that is pined consistently or continuously is treed. That's fair enough. I think that is maybe slightly tortured, but I think your interpretation is utterly correct, and I didn't align on that yesterday. So thank you, Matthew F., for that explanation. Matthew also points out that in addition to the 2 different clues we had for earth, meaning sod and soil, there was also earth poetically as orb. So we had 3 clues that were essentially all earth. And finally, Matthew points out a comment on the puzzle generally. Weezer is pretty well known, and Lil Uzi Vert is absolutely famous enough to be in the crossword, even before his infamous forehead diamond. Don't know that reference, I'm sorry. But 2 relatively modern musical artists crossing, and that cross of all letters being a Z, that could be tricky. Yes, indeed. Indeed, that kind of thing. 2 proper nouns crossing always has the potential to be tricky if you don't happen to know at least one of them. And an unusual letter like a Z, that does make it even more difficult if they fall outside of your knowledge. Ben Ward points out, I don't think you ever looked at the 29 across clue coffee store, for which the answer was earn. You're right, I didn't ever see it. Relatively simple, but it might have clued you into genius level and therefore rethinking burrito a little sooner. Indeed, that was an area I was on the wrong track for quite a while. And Kathy Swope says that DeBakey, who was Michael E. DeBakey, pioneer in coronary bypass surgery, as clued in yesterday's puzzle, is indeed well known. He is best remembered for his trailblazing efforts in the treatment of heart diseases. He was the first to perform successful graft replacement of aneurysms of the thoracic aorta and obstructive lesions of the major arteries. He was also an inventor, including the roller pump, a key component of heart-lung machines, as well as artificial hearts and ventricular assist pumps. He built the Baylor University School of Medicine into a premier medical center and was Chancellor Emeritus before his death in 2008. So thank you, Kathy, for that nice reflection on Michael E. DeBakey. Sorry, I just had to make sure I was getting the name correct. Michael E. DeBakey, a name that was new to me, but probably shouldn't have been. So thank you for that. And I think that wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll be back tomorrow for the Monday puzzle. It'll be much quicker than this. We're approaching an hour on this video. Certainly shouldn't take nearly as long tomorrow on a Monday. I hope not. And if you enjoyed this, please do subscribe to the channel and send it on to someone else if you think they might enjoy it as well. You never know. And I suppose that's it. I'll cut it off here. It's been a long video. You can always check out the Daily Solve Discord chat server to meet others in this community. There's a link in the description field underneath the video. And with that, I will hopefully see you tomorrow. But until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Sunday. Take care.